Yeah, we put together what we think is a pretty good piece of new guys coming in, not only from the junior college rank, but especially the high school rank. I mean, they're going to be young. They're going to be a little bit, uh, a learning curve type deal. But we're excited about those guys. We're excited about all of our incoming guys. We have enough returners that have had some experience and some skins on the wall. The fall was very competitive. I thought the guys did a really good job of handling some adversity. Just some unpredictable stuff that we had to deal with. And then coming into spring training, we've been healthy. The arms have been able to bounce back and kind of start to fall into some roles and stuff like that. So we've played really good defense as a whole, and we've kind of put a focus on, just having steady, consistent at-bats, which we've done a pretty good job of so far.
All right, I guess just kind of two of you just kind of fire away. I guess Ben looks like he's got the first question of the morning.
Yeah, hey, Coach. Ryan Peterson's back, obviously, in the rotation. How do things look maybe behind him, or is that something you guys are still figuring out going into McNeese next week?
Well, Petey's going to be good. He's kind of followed that trajectory that a lot of guys we've had over the years, freshman year, sophomore year, and then now junior year, he's really working with a mission, and he's got a bright future for sure. And then Jacob Holzer's kind of in the mix to go on Saturday. He's a junior college left-hander. Tyler Ryden is a sophomore junior college kid from Alvin, and then followed probably by Noah Kendrick. He pitched for us on Friday night. We're going to probably move him to Sunday because Sunday's all about who's going to throw a bunch of strikes. So Noah does a good job of mixing 4 or 5 pitches and fills up the strike zone. If we had to say today.
We're not looking at it just yet. Go ahead, Cole.
Just after last year's transition, what was it like this year? Having still some same faces in the building for a bulk of the off season over the summer and all of that.
Well, I mean, of our returners, I think we had over 25 guys here all summer. The ones that didn't go out and play summer ball, they invested their time in the weight room. They know that Conference USA is a much more physical league than probably where they started when they first got here to Sam. So they've really invested in getting bigger and stronger, and those guys are hungry. They're used to winning and the winning culture that we've always had. And last year got off the rails. That's the best way of saying it. But these guys have been able to sit back, look at it, evaluate it, and go to work. And I'm proud of those guys that have come back.
I think on paper you guys have maybe the fastest team in the country with Caleb Cotton coming back and Jarrett Curtis and Parker Blackman. Is that kind of the identity you're going to lean into this year on the offensive side?
Well, I mean, either that or we're not pitching it worth a darn. We've kind of done a little bit of everything so far in spring training. We've ran the ball out of the yard a few times. We've done a really good job with 2 outs, either extending innings or getting the big 2-out knocks. And this is all spring training stuff, but the speed game, the bunt game, that's definitely going to be a piece of our offense for sure. We've got some experienced guys that can handle the bat, and that's exciting.
Coach, I'll hop in here a little bit. I think one of the things that maybe was lacking on last year's squad was maybe some right-handed pop in the lineup. You got a couple of guys that maybe are going to be able to fill a different role there. Maybe Hunter Albert, Nathan Fink, some guys that can really make an impact in the middle of the lineup from the right side.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Hunter's done a really good job. He's kind of tied down the shortstop position a little bit for us. You always have Jace that can play anywhere on the dirt, really even anywhere in the outfield. But Hunter's got a little bit of pop. Nathan Fink's got some juice. He's an experienced hitter. He's in, it feels like, his 12th year of college, but he's really only played for 2. So, it's a mature group. Those older right-handed guys have some experience, and I've been really excited about Ty Marthel-Johnny. He's had really good spring training so far. He's healthy, which is a huge plus. He wasn't healthy probably the back half of the whole year last year. So, those guys have done a good job.
So, what have you seen from the addition of David Wood?
Oh, Woody's awesome. I mean, he's a recruiting guy. He does a great job. He beats the bushes. He's the high energy guy. He kind of brings the energy at practice, and does a really good job of forming relationships with our players, and not only our players currently, but our recruits as well. And we're excited about the incoming class. But Woody's done a good job. He's holding those outfielders to a high expectation, and he's in the cages with the guys all the time.
Yeah, you mentioned Jace and Hunter Alford a couple of minutes ago. What kind of role do you think both of them will play? I know they both play shortstop. Are they going to be at shortstop? Or are you going to move them around the diamond?
Oh, it's Saturday when it was chilly. We were sitting in there trying to go with a travel roster. That got tricky for the first time in a while. But I feel like we have a bunch of moving pieces that can play a little bit of anywhere on the dirt. Jace started the season last year in the outfield. So we've always tried to put good athletes on the field and put them in the best positions possible. Ryan Frandon, he's kind of the brains in the outfit when it comes to the dirt. He does a really good job of leading that area. So he'll either be at third or at first. And, Addison Smith's had a good spring training. Blake Brown, he's just a steady glue guy in this whole thing. So we have some good problems, and I'm excited about it.
Coach, it's easy to talk about the returners, the guys we're already familiar with, but and just before you hopped in there, you were talking about some of these, you call them the baby cats, the freshmen, those guys. Kind of who are maybe some of the impact freshmen, these younger guys that are coming in that people need to be aware of?
Well, the funnest part about these guys is you don't know what you're going to get every day, but the gas pedal is going to be on the bottom of the floor. You don't really know. It's always exciting. But, Cade Corcoran's had a really good fall spring training. He's healthy. He was a high school shortstop. He's, kind of in that mix at first base or at third base, DH role. Left-handed hitter, really excited about him. And then on the mound, Cooper Harris. Murph has been really exciting so far. Colin Aloysio's been exciting. Zach Allred, those guys, we call them the baby cats. You don't know what you're going to get, but like I said, they're going to do it aggressive and they're going to go get after it. So, I feel like we've brought up that younger class. I think they walked in here at a higher talent level than some of the freshman classes we've brought in the past. So they're bigger, they're physical, they work hard, and they do have some personality. They like to compete, so it's been fun.
Connor Mundy seemed like somebody you were high on towards the end of the year. Just what have you seen from him progressing throughout the offseason?
Well, first off, Connor did a really good job of doing kind of exactly what we asked him to do, putting on weight and continuing to develop his stuff. He's banged up right now. He's got a little lat issue. I don't think it's going to be anything big down the road. But we've got him shut down here for probably another 7 to 10 days. But he's come a ways. He's got enough mix in his stuff to be productive for us for sure.
Coach, can you kind of talk a little bit maybe about how the bullpen's shaping up and maybe some guys you may be looking at maybe toward the back end, whenever it does come down to winning time?
Yeah, that puzzle is always the toughest part in February. We're excited about Cade Neuenschwander. Tyler Ryden's in that mix as well. Tate Hickman, when he's in the strike zone and he's mixing it pretty good, he's really hard to hit. He's still a small town kid and still learning kind of what it looks like, but he's in the mix. Easton Ballard's a strike throwing left-hander. Jonathan Anders is the same. So I think we'll probably have to piece this thing together on the back end a little bit until we settle on somebody. But again, some of those baby cats, they have that mindset too. They just haven't been out there to do it yet. So, we got some guys that kind of remind me of Miko back in the old days where it's just like, here it comes, good luck. And, we'll figure it out. But at some point we do have to just throw them out there and find out what's going to happen.
Coach, since you've been here in Huntsville since 2015, and it's felt like, over the course of time, these teams here have really had an identity. They kind of, felt a certain way. Does this group maybe feel more like what you're used to having over there at the Don?
Yeah, yes and no. I think, do we have a big leaguer right now? That's kind of hard to tell. You never know. That we've had some in the past where you just kind of go, all right, keep this guy healthy and he's going to make some money. But I do think, as a collective whole, this group hasn't been too cool for school. And that's always been our identity, that we'll try darn near anything. We like to throw down, like to compete. We like each other, want to be around them. From that standpoint, there's a lot of similarities.
Who's faster, Jarrett Curtis or Caleb Cotton?
Boy, I don't want to know. If you even bring it up, it kind of turns into a 10-minute argument. Jarrett doesn't speak near as much as Cotty, so we'll probably let Cotty say he's the fastest. But I mean, it's fun to watch those guys get after it. It's boy, you want to talk about feeling old and slow? Just walk next to them.
Whenever you got like offensive tools like that, I mean, how excited does that get a guy like Shane Wedd, who wants to be aggressive, offensively aggressive on the base paths?
We've had some scrimmages where he's like, I just want to see if we can do this, and it's gone off the rails a couple of times, and a couple of times it's worked great. But I think he's gonna put the pedal to the metal. That's just kind of how Shane is, and more often than not, when we're standing next to each other in the dugout, he tells me, and I'm, without even batting an eye, I love it. Let's go with it. So these guys have some skill set to where we think we can be pretty exciting to watch, especially on the base pass.
Anything else from you guys? Good, quick and easy?
Just, I guess, last thing would be, I don't think you have to help me with this one, but the last time y'all started on the road, it's been a while. Just, what's that going to be like starting away from the Don?
Well, it's going to be good for us, I think. Last time we did it, we drove all the way to Stetson, DeLand, Florida. That was a team bonding moment. But I think when you get on the road, you get away from kind of your comfort zone. It's something different for us. It's going to be nice to play kind of a familiar face to open up with. Even though nobody looks the same anymore, but at least we know the coaches and those kind of things. Been to the ballpark. But it's good for us to get on the road. The way the schedule kind of worked out for us, it was smart for us to get on the road first.
I guess before we let you go, Coach, kind of state of the league. I mean, you look, at Conference USA, obviously on the baseball landscape, you're about to see some teams leave, some of the bigger teams leave. Louisiana Tech, one more year. Dallas Baptist, one more year. It's kind of, where do you see Conference USA as a whole as far as strength of the league, and where do you think it's going?
Well, first off, it's a good league. It's a tough league. It's an old league. It's an experienced league. What it looks like every year, I think it's the climate of college athletics. Nobody knows what anybody is until you play them. Western Kentucky had a really good year last year. They lost pretty much their whole roster. DBU is going to be good. They have a track record for a long time. Louisiana Tech, same way. But, I think the biggest thing about our league is the coaches are experienced. We've been in the firefights a lot. We don't play, our non-conference schedules don't really overlap a whole lot. So every weekend is kind of a brand new weekend. And when you roll into whichever team you're about to play, you got to have you got to be prepared and ready to go, because it's a good league.